Do you think anybody even noticed we didn't put out a podcast last week?
I don't know. I didn't see any messages or DMs about it.
Well, now they all know. Sorry, guys.
We didn't put out a podcast last week.
But we are improving. We're going to talk about it.
Yes.
Welcome to the Let's Quit podcast.
Quitting is not always a bad thing.
If you have the right mindset, quitting can be the most powerful tool you have on your journey to success. It's certainly been helpful for us.
Whether it's flying through hurricanes, building our businesses, or just trying to get to bed on time, we're always trying to level up and improve our lives.
This is the show where we share the lessons, experiences, and friends that have helped us live this incredible life. So let's quit the bad and grow the good together. All right. Well, welcome to the Let's Quit podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If it's your first time here, great. It's a little bit of a different show today, but that's okay. If it's your, what is this now? 58, 59?
59. Oh, it might be 60.
I don't know.
We'll have to look at it.
This is how much planning we've done on this podcast. You're in for a treat today. Basically, the last month or so for us has been one of the busiest parts of our year.
Yeah.
We have two busy seasons. We have February-ish time frame, early March, and then we have like August, September time frame with the hurricane season. So those are sort of our busiest parts of the year. And
because we still have to run both businesses during that time,
right.
But at any given time, one of us is gone for 2 weeks at a time. And
which is why the last month or so we've skipped 2 podcasts. And you know what? As I know you guys love the podcast and we love doing the podcast, but if that's all we've screwed up in the last month, I'm pretty proud of ourselves.
Right. Like we didn't let none of the orders slip through the cracks. None of our sales leads
we
slip
had a
through the
YouTube
cracks.
video every week.
Yep. YouTube video every week.
We launched a freaking program in this time.
Yeah.
We did a lot of stuff in the last month or so.
Lots of customer support for the program. And
we sold our first big kitchen table. We just, man.
Yeah. It's been a crazy couple of months.
Not even. It's just been 1 month.
Oh, it feels like it's been 2 months.
You're basically just describing all of February.
Yeah, that was February. And then it'll be interesting because in our second busy season, once we get into like the August and September timeframe, that's really interesting because we've got hurricane season, both businesses. And then after that, in October, that's when like everybody starts ordering Christmas gifts. So we come back from the end of hurricane season and we're like jumping in full throttle advertising for Christmas already.
Not to mention this year in that time, we might be moving.
Oh, yeah.
So we're talking about getting another house. I'm not buying another house, man. I don't know.
You're going to scare people and make them think that we're getting another shop after
we're leaving Houston. Just kidding. Not really. No, we're just trying to move to a neighborhood a little closer to the commercial space. Mm-hmm. And because that Houston commute, though, I was really sleeping on it. I didn't think it'd be that bad. It's really that bad.
Traffic is just so unpredictable.
And for a while, it was okay because we could stagger our hours and not hit traffic. But now that we're hiring employees and we got salespeople coming on, which we'll talk about more in a minute.
We've got to have a more consistent schedule.
And unless we make everybody come in at 6 a.m.,
which is crazy because we don't mind.
That's what I want to do.
We're crazy military people. We've had to go into the shift I used to work for years was 4 a.m. to noon. And I loved it. I loved it. I had half my day left when I got off my shift, and all I had to do was go to bed a couple hours early. Yeah. And so we would love to start at 6 a.m., but I know everybody else is like, heck no. I think everybody between the sales team and Caleb and everybody has been like, yeah, no.
I think we should just do it. You know, it's one of those things where like if you try to sell it to the employees or the team later, they'll never go for it. But if you start that way and they're like, hey, congrats, we'd love to hire you. By the way, we start work at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe we should just make it a thing.
I feel like they'd start out by thinking, those crazy military people coming to work at 6 a.m. But after doing it for a month, like you start to love it.
Once you get off at 2 in the afternoon and you have the rest of your day to yourself, you don't hate it so much. Right.
You get to go to the grocery store when nobody else is there and it's not packed.
You get to go to the car wash when there's nobody there.
The dog park has nobody there.
Yeah.
These are all the things we would do when we were working out of the house and we could like really tailor our hours.
Well, even then, like working on weekends. Can we just talk about that for a minute? Like when you have, I don't know if you guys have ever worked a job where you have a weekday off, it's so much better than having the weekends off because when the weekends are off, every place is crowded. The beach is crowded. The vacation spots are crowded.
The restaurants are crowded.
The Top Golf is crowded. The bowling alley is crowded. Whatever hobby or activity you do with the family, it's all crowded. And like I understand that like school and everything conflicts with that schedule, but at the same time, like, geez, if we could just take a weekday off,
that'd be so nice.
That would be so nice.
Ugh. Anyways, we'll see how that turns out and if we end up changing our operating hours here. But
anyway, yeah, I guess to catch everybody up. So you left early February, end of January?
I left mid-January and came back early February.
Got it. And then I left early March and came back mid-March. And we were both flying with the hurricane hunters because we don't just fly through hurricanes. We fly through winter storms, atmospheric rivers, all sorts of stuff during the off season. And so Jennie and I took a couple of blocks where we flew out of Sacramento, Mather, California, and we just flew into the atmospheric rivers off the west coast over the Pacific. And
dropped lots of weather instruments so that we could get all the data of like the fronts and everything coming through.
Yeah, I'll see if I can work some footage into a YouTube video coming up. But basically, that's what we were doing. It's a lot of fun. It's always a great time to spend time with the Air Force guys out there. But
yeah, they're long flights, so you really get to know everybody on your crew.
It's
lots
like
of good conversation. And
both of mine were like 11-hour flights.
Yeah, that's
it was a long time. So
over 10, 11 hours.
But it's fun. Jennie turned me on to a really cool idea. Like every time we have to drop a weather instrument every 10 minutes or so, and so during the meantime, like you can talk about stuff or whatever, but like every 10 minutes or so, everybody's got to be quiet and we got to do the drop correctly. And so every conversation needs to last about 10 minutes. Well, Jennie figured out, you want to explain it so I don't
so I'm like,
to you?
You have to have something that really makes your brain work, so you're not falling asleep or whatever. And so I thought trivia questions. So between every drop, I ask the crew a trivia question. So just before I get on the plane, I download a bunch. I have like a trivia app, but obviously I don't have internet in the plane, so I just have to download a bunch of questions and I time it out. I'm like, all right, if I have 25 drops, that means I need 25 trivia questions. But if I want 2 for the way out and way back, anyways. And so I pick my categories before I go. Like I think this last one was like 1980s movies and Broadway music. I don't know. And we just have a blast seeing who knows the most.
It's a lot of fun, especially if you can get the categories right. I just pulled up a web page, just like a random web page of like 200 trivia questions, and had a little drop down. So every time I asked a question, I would just hit the drop down and we find the answer. And it was a lot of fun. It helped pass the time. So it was a good time. I also, so on our off days, which there weren't very many of this time, but on our off days, we're within driving distance of Lake Tahoe. And so it's nice to get up there and go skiing and snowboarding and stuff. So I bought a snowboard. I've spent about as much money on as a snowboard costs on rental gear. And if you've ever rented ski gear, like, especially with our schedule, because we don't know when our flights are going to be and they might pop out of nowhere, they might get canceled. So renting gear and having it the day before and then turning it in the day after is always a hassle. So
yeah, nobody ever wants to lose money because
I just decided to pony up the cash and buy a snowboard because I've already spent that much money on rental gear and just in the last 2 years. So I think we're going to be doing it for a little bit longer than 2 more years. So
I think so.
I should break even. And plus, like being military, a lot of the mountains give free military ski passes, so that really helps make the trip worth it. So yeah, I bought a snowboard.
Yes.
That was my act of self-control.
Sure, we'll call it that.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't really know what else to talk about. I got back here and they weren't crazy, but like I had a lot to catch up on.
I mean, he was coming back into like working full throttle because I was back here working with Caleb, still doing videos, still making sales, fulfilling a bunch of boards.
That's right. And while I was gone, you came to a conclusion for the woodworking business, right? In last week's video?
I did. Oh, yes, that conclusion. I thought you were talking about something completely different.
I was trying to tee you up into a perfect segue, and then you just...
I've come to a few conclusions over the last few days, and I need to write them down because I start to forget them all. My main conclusion was that we need to start hiring salespeople.
Yep.
Like, it's decided. It's done. I'm sorry. I've tried so hard for the last year and a half to do everything on my own, and it's worked, and it could continue to work. It's just, it could work much better if I had help.
Well, after the last 2 years, we've been building systems, and you and I have we've both been the manager, the boss, and we've also been the person doing the work, the technician.
Right.
And so now it's time for us to outsource the technician work to hiring people to do that for us, and then we can become the mid-level managers and the CEOs. That's sort of how growing and scaling a business works. And so at this point, we need to start stepping away from building every little thing that comes comes through. We need to stop engraving every single board that we sell because we need to hire employees to do that. If we really want
Right.
to, if we really want to provide a great place to work for people, then we need to trust them to take care of those things for us.
I feel like the longer we do it ourselves, the harder it's going to be to hand it off to somebody.
Right. Well, like, so just take another example out of context, like insurance. We've been looking at trying to get like unemployment insurance for the employees coming through and I don't know, just various insurance products for the business. And we have not really been able to make the time to do that because we've been so busy making sales and building things. Like our time is getting swallowed up to the point where we don't feel comfortable hiring another couple of employees till we get this insurance thing figured out.
Yeah.
And then after that, we can focus on bigger and better things. But for right now, we really need to start letting things go. So before I left, we officially outsourced bookkeeping.
Yes, that has been so nice.
Yeah,
so nice.
Jen and I are not naturally bookkeepers. Like, we are not that type of person that likes to sit down in front of a spreadsheet. And there's two people listening. There's people gagging right now because you're the same way. And there's other people that are saying, like, oh, I don't really like that. But secretly, you've got a spreadsheet for everything.
Yes.
So we are the first type of people. Like, it literally, like, we literally shiver when we think about.
It pains me to log into QuickBooks.
Just the rage.
Yes, the rage. It's like it's a wave. It comes over me because I know what's about to happen every time I log in, and there's always going to be like one disconnect at least, or something didn't match, or I have to go find it manually, and then I still end up doing it wrong, and it screws up 18 other numbers. And
so we have been doing our own QuickBooks and bookkeeping for a while because we feel like that. If you know anything about us and our mission, like we always talk about facing your fears.
Yeah.
We noticed that we were running from bookkeeping and it was piling up and it was causing us problems every quarter or whatever when we go to file sales taxes, and we hadn't done a good job bookkeeping. Then it was a tidal wave of like, well, if you want to pay your taxes, you got to get your numbers right.
Yeah.
And so we started doing our own bookkeeping. I was doing the YouTube side of the house bookkeeping. Jennie was doing the woodworking business bookkeeping. And we finally got to a point where we were zen about it. We opened QuickBooks and it still made us mad, but like
we knew what we had to do.
It was doable. Like, we weren't running from it anymore. We were handling it every month. We were categorizing all of our transactions. And anyway, it was at that moment that we realized, all right, we've made our peace with it. We're not shrinking the responsibility of doing bookkeeping. Now we're allowed, quote unquote, to hire a bookkeeper to help us out.
Yep, because if they weren't around, we know that we could get it done ourselves.
Yep.
So.
Got my sweet tea from Taco Casa. I used to work at a Taco Casa back in the day.
They're not very good about like advertising on social media because I
not
tried to look them up on Instagram to tag them in pictures with our Taco Casa cups, and they just weren't there.
It's great. It's what you want Taco Bell to be.
Yeah.
If you could imagine a Taco Bell that used real meat, real cheese, real lettuce, real beans.
Yeah, it is good.
It's really good, and I don't hate myself after eating a lot of it. And
yeah.
Anyway, but there's a little taco
Side
place I used to work at in my hometown growing up. But now there's one in Houston.
Yes, we have everything in Houston. It's the perks of living in a big city. You have pretty much anything you want.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what we've been up to. We handed off bookkeeping, and now we're working on getting some salespeople added to the team.
We actually got a lead on a couple people that are coming in today, so we'll see how that pans out.
So yeah, that should be good. It's really giving us a good scrub of all our checklists, though, because now we really do. We've been writing these checklists knowing like, oh, one day we'll have to hand this off to somebody else. Well, the day is here, and so now we're getting a legitimate scrub of everything.
And it's so much easier to fix a checklist than it is to write it from the ground up.
Right. Like yesterday, I did have to update some stuff. I have a realtor sales process checklist, and I mean, it was fine. It worked. I wrote it when I first started, like mailing free boards to realtors. And every once in a while, we'd still go to an open house on a weekend and like bring them a board. So I still had that part of the checklist in there.
But now our techniques have totally changed.
Right. But the majority of it was written. So all I had to do was completely take out a paragraph and rewrite it. So that was convenient, at least.
And that took you, 10 minutes? And then we just printed it off and handed it to the new prospective salespeople. And they were ready to go. So again, it's not about having a perfect checklist. It's about getting it on paper first,
having
and then you
somewhere
can
to start,
tweak it later. Because I mean, there's times that I've written a checklist and then I haven't looked at it in months, and then I'll go back to it and I'll think, oh wow, this is actually really helpful.
Yeah.
And I didn't really need to change as much as I thought I did when I wrote it.
And I know that there's going to be a few others that are going to be like that I'm going to have to update and change. Probably today as we're walking them through stuff, I'll notice, ooh, yeah, that did change. Ooh, we don't do that anymore. Oh, we've added this.
And there's probably things we're going to have to write checklists for that we didn't think we needed one for. But I'm glad that we have the time to do that now instead of writing all the checklists all at once.
Yep.
So
yep.
Just further justifying our time spent writing checklists, which is another thing we're not super excited to do.
No.
But yeah, so we're hiring salespeople now. That's pretty cool.
I know. I'm excited.
I'm very excited. I think it's going to do well.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting. So we'll be like, for now, at least we're sharing one social media account. So like all the salespeople will be on the Samara Table Co. Instagram talking to people. And so we'll see how that goes. But as we grow, we might have to like split up into like different social media accounts for all of us, or we'll have to figure it out somehow.
We shall see. I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be fun.
There's a bunch of hurdles that are coming our way that we don't even know exist yet.
But each hurdle will be associated with making money.
Yes.
So it's no longer just jumping over hurdles, hoping that there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah.
It's now we're doing things, and it's either going to increase or decrease the amount of money that we make, and that's really cool. When they were here, when we were showing them around the other day, like I was super excited because, like, I started looking at. It's hard when you're in it, you get lost in the sauce, so to speak. And you don't realize what we've built. Like, we have built a business that can operate on its own.
Yeah.
All it needs is a little bit of human input to try and prospect new business, and the system takes care of itself.
Right.
It's just so cool to see like 200 boards sitting there, like ready to be shipped out. And then the ability to sell infinitely many boards, like nothing's slowing us down. Like the humans getting in the way is the bottleneck to the process. Yeah. So as long as we keep feeding
the
people,
humans not being literally just not being able to talk to enough people. Like more humans means more people. I was telling Davis this the other day, and it might sound like the weirdest analogy ever, but I feel like my body with like 2 arms and 2 legs, I've got like 4 extremities, right? I feel like I just turned into an octopus. Today, when I added more people to my team, I'm like, I have doubled my productivity. I can reach so many more people. I feel like I'm just like,
now, like,
so
as
productive.
you find people like on Instagram, scrolling on Instagram, you can just put them in a spreadsheet and tell your salespeople, like, hey, go after this person, go after this person, go after this person.
Yeah, and whenever we have time, one of us can just check the list and say, oh, all right, I'm gonna pursue this lead today because it was on the list.
Right. So I'm really excited.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I hope this works out.
It's getting me jazzed. Okay. What are we talking about next before I get way too excited about this?
The program we launched.
Yes.
Something else to get excited about. So last month, if you watch us on the YouTubes, we published a program designed to help people start their own first business from home and sell the things that they make. That's something that we've done twice now in a rural setting and in a metropolis setting. We've discovered a lot of principles that work between the two. We've read a lot of books. We've done a lot of studying. We've done a lot of trial and error. And
I think the trial and the error is like the most valuable part. Is like we have physically done it and failed and succeeded. Like we know what works and doesn't work. And
right. So we're selling all the shortcuts in this little program for like under $200, which is a steal.
Which is not even a little program. Like
we've spent $20,000 learning all these lessons.
Yes.
Like just when people tell us the program's overpriced, I'm just like, you don't understand what you're saying right now. Pearls before swine and all that. But
like this has been since years and like 4 years worth of just stuff.
Can I be honest? We wanted to price this program at $1,000. I'm not trying to sell you a program, but like we wanted to sell it at $1,000. It's that valuable. But
the amount of stuff that we have learned, the time savers too, are just straight up. We're like, just don't do this. Don't even spend your time on this part, of this type of product or selling this product this way because I'm just telling you it doesn't work. Do this instead.
Well, people are going to do it themselves anyway, and have to learn for themselves,
which is fine. But
that's us. We're those kinds of people.
Yeah.
We are that stubborn. So
we are. We really are.
Anyway, but the program, we just did a soft launch. We just mentioned it in a couple YouTube videos, and we made a lot of sales, helping a lot of people with that program.
Yeah, we've gotten really good feedback from it so far.
So now we're starting to reach beyond our own audience and try and market and sell the program that way, so we can just reach other people who don't know about us or aren't super familiar with us.
Because the program is also really helpful for people who aren't woodworkers. If you have a different type of, we specifically designed this program where if you are a woodworker, you're definitely going to get a lot out of it because we started a woodworking business. So obviously the tips are completely catered to you. But if you don't run a woodworking business, it's also going going to be helpful. And we designed it that same way with some examples that maybe aren't woodworking related.
And we've been getting a lot of good feedback. We've had, I don't know if you've looked at the surveys at the end of the course, but like I've flipped through those this morning, and just some really good, people said some really nice things about the program and sort of how it can help them. And they're not all woodworkers. They're leather people, they're crafts people. One woman has a Cricut, and she just makes like personalized vinyl stuff. Like it's really cool what people are able to do with this program. And we're just helping guide them along the way to not fall into the same traps that we fell into. But program's doing really well. The soft launch did way better than I ever thought it would. So now we're actually going to start doing some sales and marketing to try and reach people.
I feel like people have almost been waiting for this information too, because we've put out other programs, but this is no joke, everything we've learned in the last 2 businesses, and we just put it all into one spot.
Yep. But we have also got so for those of you that run businesses that are a little bit more advanced, the goal of the first program that we've been talking about is just to get you to make your first 3 sales and then get you to make sales a little more automatic. Start building a sales system so that you can throttle it up or down based on how much free time you have. But basically, this program is for anybody that's made, I would say, probably less than 10 grand. If you've made less than 10 grand in your business, this program is for you. But once you've made over 10 grand in sales, you start getting into some more advanced techniques and tactics, which that's what we're working on right now. So now we're working on an advanced sales program. So for those of you that have a little bit of cash flow, have some money to leverage, and you just need to sharpen your sales skills, or you want to start playing around with Instagram and Facebook ads and stuff like that, that's what this advanced sales program is designed to help you with. We've also got an advanced marketing program coming down the pipeline. So for those of you that want to do, like paid advertisements and stuff like that, how to get word of mouth going in your area, how to engineer a product launch that's going to be really cool in the marketing program.
Yes, that's something that we've learned a lot about in the last year.
So those programs are coming down the pipeline. We're also completely revamping the business mindset program.
Yes, that too.
Lots of good stuff on the way, and we're excited to do it. But that's our update on all that stuff.
For the last month and a half.
This week, I don't know if it's coming out today or tomorrow, but we're doing another shop tour. Now that we're moved into the space, we've gotten settled. We've built a few batches of boards, and we've gotten settled. We're building our first kitchen table now. I've got to finish that up this week. But we did a shop tour just to update everybody on where the equipment's at, what it's doing. And
because you saw the empty tour. We gave an empty tour, and then we just started posting videos of us doing stuff in it already. And so we're like, we should probably back it up, slow down, back it up, give people a tour before we go running like full throttle into just, project updates.
Well, the shop's going to change over time.
It will.
But I want to make sure that we're documenting the whole process of building this business. That's what our YouTube channel is.
Yes.
And so I want to make sure we get a good snapshot of the first prototype of this production space. Yeah. So I'm really excited. At this point, we've got everything that we need right now. We are now saving up for gigantic tools. And by gigantic tools, I'm talking like anything over $20,000. We're saving up for some big tools and equipment to replace a lot of the stuff that we have. I'm just get really excited thinking about that.
I know.
These tools need to be bolted to the floor. Like, we need to drill through the concrete and put studs in the concrete so that they don't vibrate around the floor, because they're such big, heavy equipment. Like, we're going to have to hire an electrician just to turn the machine on.
Oh, but we know a good electrician.
Oh, yeah, we do.
He helped us fix some of the outlets in our commercial space. He's fantastic. I hope we could hire him out somehow. He's fantastic.
For sure. But just moving and jiving and trying to catch up. What else? What are we missing?
What else?
Oh, we reorganized the old studio. So the old the old bedroom that we repurposed for our studio back in the house. We didn't get any footage of it, but we repurposed that to the adventure room.
We've got all of our surfing stuff, snowboarding, golfing, rock climbing, hunting, fishing.
All of our 1,000 other hobbies.
Yes, they all go in there.
We have 1,001 hobbies, and woodworking is one of them.
Yes.
But for the rest of them, they get confined to that room. So
yeah, it was so nice because everything was just basically crammed into the closet of our room, which is not that big.
Yeah.
And
well, that whole room was still in disarray because we moved here so quickly. Then we both left for these atmospheric river missions. We just never got a chance to clean that bedroom.
And we had to start operating out of here. We couldn't just move in and be like, all right, now let's take 2 weeks and put the house back together. It was like, nope, move in and go.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. So we're slowly putting our own house back together.
Yes.
Back together.
And yeah. I don't know. We got to do the garage. That's the last thing.
Yes.
We got to do the shed in the backyard. We got to clean it out, and then we got to do the garage.
Yep.
And then the house will be in order.
Finally. Oh
nice.
my gosh.
I can relax in the house now.
We've never actually just lived in this house here in Houston.
Any house.
Yeah.
The last time we had a living space that we did not work out of was the apartment we moved into in North Dakota.
Yeah.
Before we bought our house.
And we lived there for such a short time. And even then, the garage, it was a detached garage, but the garage is where we started building our first stuff. Like our first coffee table, our first nightstands, our first end table.
Yep.
I was still refurbishing furniture out of that one.
What are we going to do at home? Just stare at the ceiling? What do normal people do?
I don't know. That's why we have like golfing and hunting and fishing and snowboarding and surfing.
And a dog and a cat.
And a dog and a cat, yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's what we've been up to. It's been hectic. I'm even exhausted after saying everything we've done in the last month and a half. But
it's one of those things where like we look back and like, yeah, we know we were busy, but like we didn't realize how much we were actually doing.
Man, if we can have every month be that productive.
I don't think that's sustainable.
I know it's not, but if it
is
could
with
be,
employees. It is with employees.
Yes, thank you. That's exactly what I was going for.
But the trade-off there is that employees cost you money. So you dig into your profits a little bit, but that's the whole point, is to sell more so that your expenses are covered by your income.
Yeah.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Great book.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Great book.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've read it. But like, yeah, there's a certain way to deal with finances if you're a business owner. Anyway, just spoiler for the book. It's fun.
It's really good. You should read it.
We didn't do a book question. Speaking of books.
Oh, we didn't do a book question. We usually do this at the beginning. I'm sorry. We're not doing this till the end now.
That's okay. We are on question number what?
All right. It's going to be shallow or deep.
7.
Shallow or deep.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Little column A, little column B.
Convinced there are no easy questions in this book.
Well, there's the surface level answer, and then there's the like actual answer.
Okay.
And it's sort of up to the reader to determine how deep you want to go with it.
Gotcha.
I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What is it?
On what occasion do you lie?
Oh, on what occasion do you lie?
Because everybody lies
Yeah.
in some form or fashion.
Just admit it. We all do.
Let ye who has never lied cast the first
Stone.
rock.
Rock, stone.
I went with rock.
Okay.
It's a loose interpretation.
Different versions. Let's see. On what occasion would I lie? I'd say the first thing that comes to my head, the very first thing, is to protect. I don't know. It's to like
To protect what?
keep some people.
To protect other people? How is lying to people protecting them?
I don't know.
Sounds like some rationalization some parents do.
I don't know.
Well, it's Santa Claus. They have fun.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, Mom.
Let's see. I don't know.
I don't know either.
If it's like if it's information that would like in no way
You're struggling
build
with this question.
It is because it's a hard like moral question because you're like, oh well, I would never lie to people, but it's like, well, be honest, yeah, you would, and you have, and you do. It's figuring out like what you consider passable. I'd say if by withholding
If
information,
it makes my life
somebody,
easier, there we go.
that's the selfish way. I was thinking if it's information that's definitely not going to build a person up, and by sharing that information, all it's going to do is like tear them down, then maybe
but
I'd withhold the information.
sometimes people need to hear the tough
They
truth.
do, and that's where
And
it
you
gets
got to do
hard.
that in a very loving way. You can't just lie to everybody their whole life.
Right,
or
and
you
that's
turn
where
out
it
like
gets
a
hard
millennial
because you have to
with a
figure out
participation trophy.
what times to do it and what times to not.
Hey, Tommy, you really suck at baseball.
Yeah.
I know you've got that little trophy there, but I need to tell you, you're not going to play in the major leagues.
But like, let's be honest. If maybe somebody's like skirt is kind of ugly, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't like you just think it's a little, tacky, but it's not going to change anything. It's not, it's not going to change the outcome of the event you're at. Or
Well, see, now we're debating the definition of a lie. Is a lie concealing part of the truth?
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I think the question's not that deep. I think the question's just asking, when would you lie? Like, when would you bold-faced lie to somebody? And I will say, for a stranger I'm never going to see again, sometimes I lie just to keep things easy.
Yeah, I'd
Like,
agree with that.
I don't tell people we're in the military sometimes. Sometimes I don't mention or even bring up YouTube. Like, I don't even think my grandmother knows that we have a YouTube channel. It's just, I just don't feel the need to complicate the conversation with that.
Right.
So, because there's just so much explaining I would have to do to justify the answer. I just don't want to have those conversations. So if you want to call that lying, call it lying. But I don't know, just trying to make it easier for me to navigate the social situations.
Right.
Which I think that's why everybody lies anyway. What the worst is when people lie to keep from looking like liars. That's the worst.
Yeah.
I'm not a very good liar at all. I
Me
cannot
neither.
keep a poker face. I'm terrible at lying.
Same.
So I just try not to do it in the first place. But if you're going to define lying by withholding truth, yeah, I do that all the time.
I do that too.
Yeah. So anyway.
Man, those questions really always throw me off. I'm kind of glad we did this one at the end.
You could have gone really shallow with that question too.
Yeah.
Came in like, I lie when I tell people what my name is at the Starbucks thing.
Just for kicks? Yeah. No, I've never done that.
You never lied? You never told somebody your name was like Brad or something?
But what if there is a Brad behind me and he takes my drink and now I'm stuck with Brad's drink?
Now you get 2 drinks.
But what if Brad's drink is gross and Brad already walked away with my drink?
Well, you win some, you lose some.
I don't want Brad's venti mocha vanilla ice cream frappuccino.
I tell people all the time different names at the checkout counter.
What names do you tell them, just out of curiosity?
I don't know. Just, I don't. Now you can put me on the spot. I can't come up with one. I don't know. Sometimes I'll just go with like Fred.
Fred?
Just like something easy to spell, easy to say.
Yeah, I guess because Davis does get kind of confusing. Because like, oh, did you say David?
Well, all the time people are like, oh no, what's your first name? And then I got to do this whole joke about like, haha, my mama gave me 2 last names. And then they giggle sometimes. Other times they just stare at me awkwardly. And sometimes I like to avoid that situation. So I lie, tell them my name is Fred, and we move on with our lives.
If you ever meet somebody in public that looks a lot like Davis, but he says his name is Fred, it's definitely Davis. Don't let him fool you. Just be like, hey man, saw your last video, Fred. Wink, wink. God. Okay.
Oh, one time I went to the hardwood dealer and I wore a baseball cap and sunglasses the whole time.
Oh my god.
Just because the last time we got recognized, which is awesome. Like I'm so happy that like people were, like stopping to like tell us what they do and everything. But like it's not on them. That's on me. Like I was busy and I don't know. I wasn't feeling particularly friendly that day. So I just wore a baseball hat and glasses
oh my gosh.
to the hardwood dealer.
Whatever you say, Fred. Anyways, this has been a fantastic episode.
Learning a lot today.
Yes. And I hope you enjoyed the shop tour video.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I hope it was useful to you in some way. I don't know how
If nothing else, if you were extremely confused on what was going on in the realm of Jennie and Davis, now we have set it all straight.
Clear as mud.
Yes, this is what we've been up to the last month and a half. All right.
I'm done talking now.
Catch you on the next one, friends. Bye.